My name is Vic Maggio. I'm a citizen journalist and the editor of MaggioNews.com. This past Wednesday, September 2nd, was the bloodiest day in Chicago in over a decade. 9 people were killed and 12 were wounded. How the hell could this be possible? We here in Chicago, Illinois, have the most restrictive gun laws in the country. You would think these laws would bring violent crimes down in our city, right? Well, that's not the case. In fact, the crime rate has skyrocketed, and so has the number of murders. Today is the start of the Labor Day holiday weekend. Last year at this time, 3 people were killed and 37 were injured in shootings across the Chicagoland area. This year, I will hit the streets and take you with me and show you over the next 72 hours the violence that plagues the streets of Chicago. We will follow and document the shooter's trail of human destruction across the city. People need to see what's taking place in this liberal, Democrat-run city. I will show you through my camera lens the impossible jobs these Chicago police officers have to do every single day. The overall theme that plays out in these high-crime neighborhoods is man's inhumanity to men, women, and children of these communities. The people need to see there is a war that exists in their own country right here and now. I would like to take this time to wish everyone a happy and safe Labor Day weekend. Come on with me. It's time to roll.
There's a guy with a gun running around up here. Not a shooter, but a man with a gun, so we might be arriving a little early. We happen to be blocks away when the call came. Three men were shot, 1 fatally, in a gang drive-by shooting at the corner of Mayfield and Wabansia. Blood-stained streets have become a much too common sight in Chicago. A 19-year-old woman was shot in her left side in a drive-by shooting.
David. 4523 David. Can we get an event for lunch at 42 in California, please? 19645, 19645. Thank you. You're welcome.
Two men were shot in a gang-related shooting on West Potomac Avenue on the west side. Both are in stable condition. An unidentified shooter leads police in a high-speed chase through the streets of Chicago for about 10 miles, ending at 95th and Western when he struck a truck head-on, condition unknown. On Sunday, I took time out from covering the shootings to pay my respects to the 3-year-old child that was found dismembered and dumped in the Garfield Park Lagoon. As I filmed the investigators searching for more pieces of the child, I stopped and wondered if anyone ever considered these men and women that have to confront these horrific scenes regularly. The child's killer is still at large. The man was shot in his SUV on the 3700 block of North Kilpatrick Avenue in Old Irving Park neighborhood around 2 a.m. Monday, when someone stepped out of another SUV, shouted gang slogans, then fired 222 caliber rounds, hitting the man in the back of his head and chest. The SUV fled the intersection of Cicero and Wellington Avenues, where the police found the gunshot victim.
Hey, he's getting a warrant from the Illinois Department of Corrections. Has no parameters on it for a burglary. He's got a parole violation. 712 Irving.
Monday evening at 47th and Ada at 11:40 a.m. in the back of the Yards neighborhood. 2 men were shot. One was shot in the face and the other man was shot 4 times. Both men were taken away in critical condition. The shooter is still at large. This was the final shooting of the bloody Labor Day weekend in Chicago. As this victim was taken away, the other victim was worked on by paramedics.
been a grueling 72 hours since I last spoke with you. The Labor Day holiday has officially ended here in Chicago. And I have to tell you, based upon what I witnessed in the bloody streets of Chicago, I've reemerged with a newfound respect for the men and women of the Chicago Police Department and the first responders of the Chicago Fire Department. The human toll of the Labor Day weekend violence is 9 dead, 46 wounded in shootings across the city. These statistics are shocking and are basically war zone stats. I must now ask, who is responsible for the desperate urban environment that has been created in these neighborhoods of Chicago? It isn't the Chicago police that created them. In fact, it is our politicians and their policies that are solely responsible for the misery brought upon these communities. I strongly believe the police and first responders have been left holding the bag full of politicians' failed policies. These same policies have been fueling the surge of violence here in Chicago for over 3 decades. I would like to tell you a little bit about what you didn't see in the videos. Every 10 minutes, the police radio was hot and lit up with shots fired calls that were coming in from all around the city. These police officers must then go into these high crime neighborhoods to investigate these calls, never knowing what will happen when they arrive. They roll into these gang-infested hot LZs looking for active shooters and their victims. This is very dangerous work. I know this firsthand because I followed them in and watched them search for these violent criminals in the dark of night. I have also witnessed these first responders displaying extreme courage and professionalism in the face of extreme circumstances. I watched in awe as they feverishly worked over bleeding shooting victims while they desperately screamed out for their help. I noticed while they were helping these victims, the firefighters and police never stopped to ask what their religious or political affiliations were. They do their jobs in an unbiased fashion, unlike their political bosses. I don't think people realize the amount of courage it takes to do the dangerous jobs they do day in and day out. In this reporter's opinion, these men and women go above and beyond the call of duty. Since Ferguson, police officers are being vilified and are now presently being targeted across the nation. The negative change in national sentiment towards police should concern every single American. The public must voice their support for police officers that protect you and your family from these predatory criminals. The fact is, without these men and women doing the impossible jobs they do every day in the cities and neighborhoods across the country, the predatory criminal would control the streets of America. Without the police enforcing the rule of law, the civil society will collapse and cease to exist as we presently know it. I believe this is not the future you want to leave for your children and our country, is it? I didn't think so. Maggio News signing off.